you on a journey. They say that the Delta begins right here in the lobby of the Peabody Hotel in Memphis, Tennessee, and it ends on Catfish Road, Vicksburg, Mississippi. Well, they also say that this Peabody Hotel has 13 stories. That's not true. It has thousands of stories. Stories of visiting presidents consecutively, from Harry S. Truman to George W. Bush, of diplomats and dignitaries and monarchs. Stories of the big bands of the 30s and 40s, broadcasting live from the historic Skyway Ballroom up on the rooftop, and stories of the king of rock and roll. But also anniversaries celebrated and reunions visited, and through it all, the Peabody Ducks have marched from the rooftop down to the lobby and back, and in so doing, they've woven the fabric, which contains the names and the faces of the events that are the history of this hotel. It all started back in 1869, when Colonel Robert Brinkley realized his dream by opening a state-of-the-art hotel just 2 blocks from here, Monroe in Maine, called the Brinkley House. It was to set the tone for cuisine and luxury in the South. Unfortunately, the Colonel's good friend and investor, Mr. George Peabody, passed away over in London about at the same time. They changed the name of the hotel to the Peabody in his honor. It went along there some 55 years at that location, hosting such luminaries as Robert E. Lee and President McKinley. And then on September the 1st, 1925, the doors opened to this beautiful facility we stand in today at the cost of some $5 million and a couple of years of construction. But that's not the whole history of this hotel, folks, not by a long shot. So if you get a chance, go up on the mezzanine level and check out our memorabilia. There you'll find objects and souvenirs of decades past here at the hotel. My favorite is a framed memo from Mr. Gary Bell, the managing partner of the hotel, to the executive chef over at Chez Philippe, who was trying to change the menu. He told him, even though you've got a French restaurant there better not be any duck on any menu at Peabody Hotel. Well, the tradition of ducks in the Peabody goes back a long way. In fact, in 1933, the general manager, Frank Shuddy, and Buddy Chip went on a cold duck hunt into the backwaters of the Mississippi in Arkansas. They knew it was going to be a cold day, so they took along another companion, just for encouragement, a certain Jack Daniels, otherwise known as Fine Tennessee sipping whiskey. Well, after all, it wasn't going to be cold. They needed a little encouragement, but as the day wore on, apparently they became a little over-encouraged. They began to feel it would be a funny idea to bring the live duck decoys, which were legal in those days in Arkansas, back here and release them in the fountain, and they did. Then they went off to their rooms to sleep it off. Well, the next morning, Mr. Shutt was a little concerned about the mayhem that might have been caused due to his misdeed the night before. So he rushed down to the lobby and he found 2 surprises. Number one, the ducks were still here. They hadn't flown off to see Beale Street or the sights of Memphis. And number 2, a group of tourists and guests had gathered. They were delighted with the frolicking ducks and fountains of the fine hotel. So, of course, they were given a couple of days reprieve. It turned into an 80-year tradition. Well, in 1940, Edward Pembroke was hired by the hotel as a bellman. But he was a multi-talented individual. In another life, he'd been an animal trainer with Ringling Brothers, Barnum-Berry Circus. And he told management upon his employment, if you'll let me, I'll take 5 North American mallard ducks, 1 male and 4 females, instead of these 3 English tall ducks here. And I'll train them to march from the rooftop palace across to the elevator, down to the lobby level, across the red carpet, into the fountain every day at 11 o'clock. At 5 o'clock, I'll march them back, put them to bed. Management didn't know what to think about that. They rolled their eyes. They looked at each other, and they said, all right, Edward, give that a shot. See what you can do. For 50 years, Mr. Pembroke guided ducks from the rooftop down to the lobby, and in so doing, he became an ambassador of goodwill for the Peabody Hotel and for the city of Memphis. And he appeared in such venues as The Tonight Show with Johnny Carson, the Sesame Street program, where he and his ducks helped celebrate National Rubber Ducky Day. They did photo shoots in People and Sports Illustrated swimsuit edition, where the duckies discreetly showed very little leg. Well, I would say that a person like Mr. Pembroke has done so much, he's mastered what he's done. Wouldn't you? Management thought so, because they be so involved, he's in charge. The title Duck Master, the world's first duck master here at Peabody Hotel. Well, he's no longer with us today, folks, but Mr. Pembroke's spirit remains here in this lobby. And if you'll check out the southwest entrance when you leave, there's a framed picture with he and his beloved ducks looking down at our ceremony today. That's a little history of the hotel. This just about wraps it up, except that I have the privilege to perform at this time. From time to time, we encounter someone with such personality and such integrity and such people's skills that we have to offer them an opportunity to come here to the fountain and help us with our duties. And today, I would like to invite Mr. William Graham to come up. He's here with his fine wife, Mrs. Graham over here, taking pictures. How are you, sir? Good to have you. Now, everyone knows that before anything can become official, we need to have a proclamation. We all know that, so here we go. Whereas the daily march of the world-famous Peabody Ducks is a time-honored tradition, begun in 1933 and attended by countless visitors, and whereas the care and the protection of the Peabody Ducks must be attended to on a daily basis and can only fall to persons of high standards and great distinction. And whereas you are such a person, be it resolved that on March 10th, 2014, Mr. and Mrs. William Graham have been named honorary Duck Masters. Now, in honor of this auspicious occasion, we have an official Peabody rubber ducky. There you are. But you might want to put that down right there.
I don't know.
But more importantly, so that Mr. Graham can help us with our duties here at the fountain, we have a Peabody official Peabody official Duck Masters cane bestowed. There's what we Okay. All right. Now, we've talked about the history of the hotel, the traditions of the Ducks, and I've introduced to you my honorary Duck Master. All that remains is to go up there on the rooftop, is to play that John Philip Sousa Cotton States March and march our 5 feathered guests single file into the elevator. When that door closes at 5 o'clock, you too will have been eyewitness to the world-famous march of the Peabody Ducks. Thank you, folks.
I know.
Ladies and gentlemen, good evening, and your attention, please. Welcome to the historic Peabody Hotel. At the center of the grand lobby, the point where the Mississippi Delta has been said to begin, stands the classic Peabody Fountain, carved from one piece of Italian travertine marble. Although famous in its own right, the fountain is better known the world over because of its residents. If I may direct your attention to the fountain now, you will witness a tradition begun in the 1930s at the South's Grand Hotel, an experience uniquely yours as a guest of the Peabody. Preparing to return to their penthouse on the plantation roof for the night, ladies and gentlemen, the march of the world-famous Peabody Ducks.
That's right.
And they're on the elevator off to their penthouse apartment on the top floor of the hotel.